Uh, Not much to say. They did this last fall also. I have no problem with it.
And no conflicts with soccer either, right? That's
No,
early, that's
not.
too early for them because they're on their break or whatever. Or...
Well, it's too late, right? This is October. No, November 7th.
Oh, November.
Soccer's
Okay,
pretty
got
well
it.
done by then.
Second.
I kind of thought soccer might be here. Yeah, but basically, we had a meeting, just a random meeting the other day about random stuff, and they just expressed interest, like everyone else, about wanting more space, more soccer fields, more this and that. They inquired about the old hockey rink site. Um, Nothing much came out of that. I said, come here and talk it over with the board. Uh, Otherwise, I kind of encourage them just they can play in any green space they want. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to paint fields and line fields and things like that. So that's just kind of what the gist of what they wanted to just talk about with us. We don't have any extra goals. They have their own semi-portable goals that they kind of set up here and there. And it all depends on age group. If it's just real tiny kids that are playing soccer, they can easily get by with some cones and things like that. Um, no, yeah, it all depends on what they're looking for, which they aren't exactly 100% sure what they're looking for yet either, I don't think. Just more. Brianna Morris, she runs it. She's here if you guys have questions or whichever.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, but I saw the Facebook posts and I do think those were good for the events.
We did get a updated drawing plan from, Russ on the Christensen Park shelter, restroom slash, splash pad mechanical room. So he did, update it to what we were asking. Everything will be enclosed. It has the bathrooms, it has the picnic shelter portion. And he is picking up the total cost of this too. So this is, his permit was approved, it ran through staff, so this is strictly so you guys have a chance to take a look at it. So I think they're gonna get moving on it probably pretty quickly. Yep, we got signs ordered and we're gonna hang signs, they say basically no scooters, skateboards, something like that, yep, yep.
Devin, do we provide the picnic tables then?
Shelter, yep, we always kinda just do that, we'll fill it up with however many fit in there logically in the garbage can and that type of thing. I don't think he's reached out for that, and I don't think I've given him or put him in contact with who we get them from yet. So hopefully we'll, right, yeah. I'll have to double check on that, see if we already did that or not yet. Yeah, at the last meeting, which I was not at, you guys kinda expressed after someone's renting the pickleball courts at Aspen the end of the month. So I think Park Board had kinda requested to discuss other potential facility rentals, things like that. So that list you see is just everything that I came up with that could be possibly rented out depending on how we would want to do something like that. Oh, and the other sheet that was handed out, that's the resolution for what we are charging right now for shelter reservations and picnic table and garbage cans. Shelter reservations are most weekends, sporadically, picnic tables and garbage cans, much, much less. Yeah, 4 years.
The more I've thought about this, I think, do we open ourselves up to a whole lot of work for not very many requests. We've had really one request, right? And that brought the question, so do we really want to put all that work? And because you're going to need some kind of a software system, you're going to need some kind of a recording system, charging system. Are we opening ourselves up to making people who want to do that provide insurance, like softball and baseball and flag football and soccer and those? I mean, if we're going to make them rent, I think then you have to charge. Then you have to make sure they have insurance. I worked with this at the school, and all those groups then had to have insurance, and that's just a hassle. So I don't know if we think it's necessary. I know we talked about what do we do with the rare pickleball occasion or whatever that want to rent it, but I don't know if we open up ourselves to a lot of work for not a lot of need.
Barb Fish, 1401 South Parkview Place in Brandon. It's interesting that this came up because we get the Municipal League magazine as council members, you know, Mindy. And there's an article in here that just came out about what happens when you start renting out facilities. And what Randy just referenced, the insurance and waivers, and I was going to give this to Lisa if we went down that route. Renting versus just providing the space is a different entity, right? And so this is written by the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, which is who manages our insurance for the city. So it is a very timely article.
I mean, I agree. I don't think we get a ton of requests. And if it were, it'd be from a sizable organization that wants to do something big, but they would go through normal request of, hey, we want to use the park at this time. So I'm okay if we don't kick the can down the road.
I think the only thing that, you know, like we talked last meeting, right now we've got a first come, first served policy. I think this came up because somebody had something on a particular day they wanted to do and wanted to reserve it. Do we just continue that way, saying you're going to have to get out there early? And but I agree. I mean, I think the increased having to get an insurance certificate or anything or everything, and having to track this separately, considering we haven't had a lot yet, I think that could change. But I wouldn't be opposed to leaving it the way it is. It's just, I think we're going to have to deal with it someday.
I agree. I don't think it's something that, like you said, that we can kick down the road a little bit. But, you know, we do, like the Special Empire Kennel Club. They have a special application to use Pioneer Park. If somebody else wanted to use Pioneer Park that day and they showed up at, I don't know what time this is, noon, you know, and want to use the park, we at least have something that says, no, they applied for a special thing, it is reserved for them. You have someone that goes down to the pickleball courts or out to Christensen Park for the pickleball courts, and they're putting on a tournament, and someone shows up at noon in the middle of their tournament and says, well, this is a public park, we have the right to play, and they haven't filled out one of these. Do they really have the right then to play on those parks? I don't know. It's so hard to, because you don't want to go down the whole application and insurance and what a mess that is. I don't know what the right answer is.
I think from my perspective, Randy's right now, and that we just look at it on a one-off basis. I think what we wanted to do is have Devin get that info pulled together for us so we can at least get an idea. And that way, when the time comes and we need to think about it, it's not, from my perspective, it's not necessarily an all or nothing thing. It may be just a couple of specific program facilities or, you know, far, our issues are usually pretty minimal. So there's no sense in making a mountain out of a molehill. But, you know, I think the way we've been doing things today with these one-off permits, when people come in, tournament or whatever, is a good way to do it. And, I mean, the amount of, from a revenue generation standpoint, they're public facilities and, you know, it's not gonna make a difference in our budget, so to speak, cause we're not gonna charge that kind of money, so. It doesn't make sense to me from an overhead cost standpoint.
And I guess just to add to that, John, I know someone had asked, well, how long has this been in place? And it's been 4 years. I personally think that there's no reason to increase the rates on this. It's just so people take the reservation seriously. I don't think we need to, you know, we need to keep this as accessible as possible.
This is where Barb and Randy told me to bring up the pool and pool admission costs. No, sorry. All right. Anybody else have anything else to throw in on that for now? Thanks for pulling all that together, Devin. Even though it didn't necessarily add up to much, but it's a good basis to start. All right, so the next item was the baseball tournament update. Anything you wanna? Sorry, Devin, I was out of town.
No,
for a
that's
while.
all right. I don't have a whole lot of update actually. It seemed like it went very well. I had Corey Carlson is down there all day, every day during the weekdays, so he did basically anything and everything within reason to help him out, just as part of his general job duties. We sent some people in on the weekends to clean, but otherwise the association themselves had plenty of volunteers. It seemed like they kept it very clean. There's very little. We had a lot of trash bags to dump, but they kept the litter good. The bathrooms weren't terrible. It seemed to go very well. I really don't have much else to say about it. It was, apart from Corey, who was down there a lot, it was very minimum effort from the rest of the department. So.
Al, did you hear any scuttlebutt or observations?
No, I think I would agree with Devin's comments. I thought it was very well run. I thought that they had very good crowds. I heard a number of compliments while I was down there to everybody, to the city, to the association, from out-of-town guests. I drove a golf cart, like you probably read Harry's little thing in the paper today. He did that like every day, I think. But the number of people that said, "I can't believe you guys are doing this." He says, "It's not like this is one guy told me, it's not like this is that long of a walk, but last night I was way down there and that golf cart was a lifesaver." I mean, they really appreciated the little things, so very complimentary crowd. And I know we'll get to item 13 because I did get a comment or two on that while I was out there too, but yeah, I think it went really well.
And this might be a better question for the baseball association, but do we know, did they give out like any coupons or any businesses in town give out 10% off coupons like to Tailgaters or 212 or wherever, that we could kind of gauge how much revenue it brought in or how much people actually spent in town? I didn't know. Yeah, just something, even if it's, stop in at Casey's and get a candy bar or something, buy a water, get a candy bar, just something so that we can actually have those physical things turned in so that we can actually gauge how much money was actually spent in the city due to this, any tournament, not just a baseball, but, if soccer has one or anybody else, if those associations could work with the businesses or the chamber to get something to promote spending money in Brandon, and then we could track it.
I don't want to be all corrective, but I think in today's society, it would be buy a candy bar, get a water.
I think I was down there several days. People were so impressed with the offerings of food, the grilled food, and those kinds of things down there that they said, this is better than going to McDonald's or Taco John's or wherever because of the deals that they were getting and the cost and the quality of the food and those kinds of things. So I heard several people say that. I'm not taking my family out to eat because we can eat here and it's really good. So yeah, so I don't know if that's a bad thing. We honestly don't know where the tax dollars are going and whether that's Sioux Falls or Brandon because Marlins supplied the food and it's Brandon Valley Baseball Association and those kinds of things. So that's something we as a council talked about a little bit, have a question mark on that. Supposedly we're getting that, but we're not positive that we're getting that tax money.
Or even if they do like the QR code, like they do for the burger battle and stuff, you know, scan a QR code and then blah, blah, blah. I don't know, just something that we could maybe start tracking, like I said, not just for baseball tournament, but for anybody who holds a thing in town.
All right, thanks for that. If I haven't talked to any of the baseball guys since I got back, so. They're probably all still sleeping. Yeah, I would assume they probably are. So related to that then, I'll just skip to the recycles at Aspen.
I worked in the concession stand a couple of days, and we did get some comments from people, saying, "Where's your recycle bins?" They didn't want to throw their plastic bottles and their aluminum cans away in trash. And we said, "Well, we'll bring that up. I'm sorry we don't have them out, but I've got to believe from the amount of beer cans that got sold there, somebody could have made a lot of money on recycling."
So we had a recycling dumpster next to the cooking area, and they filled that up frequently with cardboard boxes, things like that. We have worked with Marv's for forever. Really, our recycling cans that we do down there, 95% of the time, that all goes to general garbage because it just gets mixed, and they get penalized if they take it out to the recycling center and it has so much other garbage in it. So while we do have recycling cans down there, they are not usually, they don't make it all the way to recycling. They just become garbage anyway.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I know when we've had this discussion before, it's been kind of the same conversation. What I'm wondering is, at least when we have a tournament or a very large special event, if there's some temporary containers that we can put out, right, that we don't invest a lot in, that just because of the mass that's occurring, that, maybe they're not, because I get it, during a weekly basis, when there's just league stuff, they have a tendency to fill up with trash instead of recycles. I think we just need to be kind of pragmatic about it, so I'd at least like to explore the possibility of having some, what we can identify for some temporary containers. And I know it's a little bit more effort on your staff's part, Devin, to pull them in and pull them out, but
Yeah, I wonder for future, if you had a large event like this where they're doing lots of cans of whatever, if it would be worth it to extend a reach out to, who always sets up the recycling thing like in Sunshine parking lot? Could they move that down for a weekend, and then we wouldn't have to do more, but somebody would be benefiting from all the I don't know, something to think about also for the next time or something.
yeah, that's a really good idea. So,
And that was the plan when we purchased all those lids, but yeah, Marv's has told us flat out, it's not working, and so that they don't get penalized, they more or less just dump it in with regular garbage. Mhm.
Cause they tried it for a while at the golf course and then they just stopped. I don't know why, but they did.
It's the Lions Club, that's all that, yeah. Yep. So maybe we vet that out too, right? Let them know. So, okay, thanks for that. Last one, the Van Buskirk development out west in the barn, the Risty barn that's there. There's been some conversations about that city's been negotiating with them as the developer and some cost to kind of make that weather tight and what potentially the city of Brandon could do with it. Tammy's had some really good ideas about using it as a trailhead and that kind of stuff. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago, just an internal kind of city meeting to discuss it. We left that meeting with my assignment being to talk to Steve Van Buskirk and kind of see what their current feelings are about all that. I had a phone conversation with him and I had a meeting with him as well. Currently, they're still committed to doing something. They want to do it, even if temporarily it doesn't do much. They still want to have it be dedicated towards recreation. So they're gonna right now they're looking at about 2 acres worth of site to be dedicated for parkland. Yep. So I don't know what the original size was. Yeah, so it's definitely, I think, smaller. I'll have to look. He sent me some drawings, Tammy, so I haven't had a chance. We just met yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to go through them yet. But he had asked our company to do a little bit of brainstorming for him, and so we'll do that, and I'll follow up with everybody and kind of let them know. But I think in general terms, they want it to go forward and supportive of it being a trailhead and a neighborhood park and that kind of stuff. We talked about potentially some private public partnerships, and someone had approached them about that being a restaurant and doing some farm to table stuff. But I think that the rehab of that barn to that level is probably not cost effective. So I do think, just from our standpoint, my personal standpoint, you know, public-private partnerships are great. And if there's something that we can do kind of beyond the historic nature of the barn, that'd be great. But I think until that area settles down and starts to develop, that'll be hard to kind of ferret out what that would be. But he wasn't a fan of it being the farmer's market location. I think in general, the development company and stuff, they're all on the same page. So it was good news. I just think their reorganization of some of that stuff might have shrunk it down a little bit. So, but don't know. Just let me look at it and I'll circle back with you. He didn't say that specifically, that they shrunk it.
So is the barn big enough for like an indoor tennis court or indoor pickleball court? No?
So that's the update on that. So I'll report back to everybody again here in a month. So, but good news there. So I know I just told Steve that we were very appreciative of their continued help with the park system, and that was a good spot for us for at a minimum a neighborhood park, and you know, they appreciate that too. So Okay, that brings us to the last item, tree board items.
No update. Ongoing. Ash trees and tree trimming and all that, just ongoing, nothing.
So
nothing at the
Devin, sorry, I've got a question for you. My memory is, yes. When we remove trees from a street, does the stump become the responsibility of the homeowner, or is that part of the removal as well?
They grind the stump down, and then it is up to the homeowner to fill it in with dirt and grass or plant a new tree. But we do grind the stump down.
So I've noticed in a number of areas that the grinding of said stumps wasn't total, and there's a lot of volunteers growing back. Have we had any follow-up on that with our contractor, or is there, I don't know what the agreement is and what the warranty language, not that there's a warranty, but what the follow-up is on that kind of stuff?
No, it's up to the homeowner. Once the stump is ground, they grind it down below so that you can cover it with dirt, and then that's as far as we go. If the homeowner, if something comes out of the stump that's underground still, it's up to them to just mow it off, cut it off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not, I feel like it's about a 25% problem. And well, if you go, in that, most homeowners take care of it, but I've noticed some that have started not to. And if you, like as an example, if you go across from Tallgrass at the corner there, there were 4 or 5 ash trees removed around that corner. 3 of them are over a couple feet tall already. And so my fear is that we're just perpetuating a problem we're trying to fix. So because it's in the right of way, I don't know if we have any ability to go deal with that ourselves. Because, I mean, we know some folks are great at taking care of their stuff, others not as much. Or they don't understand what the issue is. So I'd hate to be coming back to neighborhoods that we've already worked in and having to deal with some of this stuff again.
Currently, the city's policy is that we're doing it once, and that is it. So then after we've gone through everything, my understanding is that we will not be doing this again. Now, that could change, but that's currently how we are operating, because we have had one property owner, the property changed hands. It's kind of a long story, but it is now their responsibility to remove the trees in their boulevard, currently. So I view this as the same thing. We went through, we cut them down, we ground them down, and we are now done. It is up to the homeowner to maintain, just like every other homeowner, they have to maintain their boulevard to a certain expectation, or, you know.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I don't want you to think that that's criticism of you. I'm just seeing a problem. And I think in this particular one that I'm thinking of, I know it's a house that was sold recently and there's new people in it. So the trees were probably removed before they even bought it. So I'm not even sure they're aware of what the issue is. So I don't know. It's something to have on the radar or to be thinking about as some of our follow-up. Because I know you've got a whole line of big trees you're getting ready to take out this fall, and I suspect we might have some of the same problem again. So, has anybody else seen anything? Are you nerdy enough to pay attention to that stuff? Yeah, it's like.
The church behind us finally got rid of their ash trees.
See, okay. All right. Well, thanks. I just wanted to bring that up and ask the question. All right. We have a guest who rolled in. Please do. Come on up.
Tom with the Brandon Valley Hockey Association. Last time I was here, I thought we were gonna table the discussion of, the concession, the scoreboard, until Devin was here, so we could discuss if there's any more funding available for that grant, or not grant, I'm sorry, application.
I would say at this point, it's still unknown what funding we have. If we're just talking general park department budget, we won't have a firm idea till December. You know, we always try to spend our budget on everything. Yeah, I guess that's really all I know right now. We don't know yet, and we won't know for a while. It kind of depends on how the year plays out. Most of our projects are either done or underway or coming online still, so until they're all finished, we really don't have a good idea of what we're left with.
Sorry, Mindy, I thought you were gonna say something. I know that sounds like a not awesome answer, but it's kind of where we're at, just because we didn't necessarily have funding dedicated for that this year. Can you remind me what amount you were asking for? Was it?
I submitted, I think you were gone at the time, I submitted a
Okay,
quote from the Daktronics for a scoreboard, and then we sent there was an application form they had to fill out by April, I think it was, for this, wasn't a grant, but it was like for next year, I think, the following year. And so then, I guess that's what I'm here now.
and then,
So,
go ahead.
since you weren't here, we had kind of talked about looking at if there was a surplus in 2025, helping them out with, possibly helping them out, not guaranteeing, but possibly helping them out with the cost of the scoreboard, if there was funds left over for 2025. Otherwise, looking at maybe the 2026 budget, yes.
It is what it is, I guess, you know. Anything helps, and that's why I'm here, I guess.
I know one of the other things we talked about a little bit last month was, the Community Foundation grant period was open. I don't know if it still is, I'm not sure when that closes, but, did you look into applying for that grant? You did? Okay.
Yes, yeah, we did, we applied for that one and the Riverboat grant, and there's we're trying to get the locker rooms built as of right now, so that's where we're channeling that funding for that towards that. Well, and we thought we'd try this too, so, I mean,
Well, I guess in my opinion, I'm still open to trying to help out if we can find a surplus in the budget, if we have one. If we don't have one, unfortunately, our hands are pretty tied. And it may be nothing, it may be part of it, it may be all of it, but like Devin said, we won't know until we get
December.
our expenditures done for the whole year, so.
would it be feasible to push it to December then? Or do you wanna just, if there's not funding then maybe we could have discussion to put it on the 26th? Or, I don't know.
Could we put it on the November agenda to do a check-in on it? That way we're not all the way at the end of the year. I
Yeah,
know that
yeah, we
won't
can
be
sure do
totally
that.
done.
As far as 2026 budget, those are kind of going through the final run-through. And I know $10,000 is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but we currently don't have $10,000 set aside for the scoreboard at this time. Just wanted to throw that out there, I guess. Yeah, so far, all the projects we've been doing are coming in at or even slightly above on some of them, so at the moment, I'd say we're not looking good, but who knows? I'm trying to think what we have left. We've got the concrete at the McCarty shop that's happening yet. The pool's kind of a separate thing, but there's lots of projects still happening there to finish out the year. The irrigation at Pioneer is done. That went over a little bit. Not that it matters a whole lot, but our mowers are breaking down every other day, so we are struggling with that. So that's gonna be possibly an added expense if we are having to lease or rent a lawnmower to finish out the year that we weren't planning on. Our tractor went down. It's kind of been a rough month.
Formal budget approval, is that September?
Or,
We have a meeting Monday night, I think, to go over the final staff cut for where they balance it out, and then from there, barring any changes, yeah, it would take 2 more meetings, I believe.
Could we possibly get it on the budget for 2026? If there was, or is that?
yeah, I don't think the council's going to approve unless this board recommends it, though. I would tell you that. They're gonna say, is that, because remember, they asked for our priority list for each year, to get that. So unless this board says, Devin, we want this listed, right?
Yeah, sorry, Tom, you said you filled out the capital improvement and gave that to Christina?
Yep,
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that.
it's there.
Okay.
We filled it out, gave it to her.
Okay, no, I mean,
So, all right, thank you, Randy. So just because she has it doesn't mean that she's necessarily drilling to look for another $10,000. All right, so I guess what we need to do is make sure that Devin has some sort of ammunition to go to Christina with to see if we can add that and or find a shift of 10 grand to create the money for it if we think it's important.
I do have a question. Are there things that we prioritize for associations? Like, do we buy scoreboards for every association? Or are there things we do or do not buy just as standard?
I would say, to the best of my knowledge, we have always, they have reimbursed us for scoreboards. We will buy them using the city's account, your discount government, whatever you want to call it, and then they haven't reimbursed us. Now, I can't say that's 100% true for every single scoreboard, but I do know that's true for most of them that I can remember. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you guys discussed this last month, but the MOU for hockey, I believe, says we're not part of anything inside, and maybe you guys all hashed that out already, and that's fine, but just trying to go from memory here. So I think what about the parking lot light? Is that still, I did ask, I had an electrician down there looking at a couple other things, and he basically said, depending on how far he has to go for power, you could just say $5,000 for a parking lot light, rough ballpark.
That was part of the other, that whole, was a parking lot light or scoreboard. And I think when the board talked, they had said that maybe with the road going in there, maybe we could put a light in there, and that went away, and then also, my president was supposed to be here, he was running late too. He was wondering if we could use the old lights off the old rink, the original one, for maybe parking lot lights as well too, is what he wanted me to ask today. And another question too, so. I don't know what your plan is for those, I know we were told to leave them.
I guess I thought they were selling the lights to somebody.
The refrigerated lights, yes, that we own.
Yep, and then the old ones on the old rink are cities, those ones are staying.
Yes, and that's what he wanted me to ask at the city board, if what the plan is for them, if possibly we could use those lights for a parking lot.
I think currently the budget says we are still reclaiming that for a ice skating pond. I think that's still up for discussion, but at this point, in my opinion, the plan would be just to leave those lights in place, and that would be our ice skating pond. And that would be of, minimum expense to us, but that is still, I know we've debated it a little bit in the past, so that's still kind of up for debate what to do.
It makes total sense, honestly, and
And
that's
then
what he just wanted me to ask.
And I don't know what we can say, if the parking lot lights are your responsibility, can we say what we would want them to be like? But I think we would want them to be a certain, build with the concrete, whatever you call that, up to a certain height, and the pole on top of that, just to all look nice and similar.
While they're lights, they're not necessarily parking lot lights, right? And so I know from a new parking lot standpoint, the photometrics of the lights and the cutoff of the lights would be the concern within the park and to the adjacent neighbors. So that's likely better solved with a new light. So getting back to the scoreboard, I don't know, I was gone last time too, so I'm not super familiar with the conversation that you had beyond the minutes, so I'm not sure if anybody wants to offer anything up.
I'll start. I would make a motion to request a $10,000 increase to the budget for a scoreboard, to assist them with the scoreboard for the 26 budget. And then it can be removed if we would happen to find a surplus in 2025. I have a couple issues. One, I know you are supposed to do all improvements inside and outside, because of the way the lease reads and the MOU and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that we are beholden to do that.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, but my understanding was the MOU was supposed to be, association-wide, so the baseball association, the soccer association,
They
also
are-
signed the same MOU as what we signed.
They
is
are
what-
different because
that's not what I was
you have
told
to- Yeah,
When we signed it, that's not what we were told. We were told that everybody was gonna be signing the same MOU as we did, so that you guys are all on the same
right,
foot, I guess you could say.
right.
So that's what my assumption when I signed it, because I signed that MOU.
Nevertheless, that's not what it says. Which can be reviewed the next time we take a look at it. And the difference, I guess, is because of the lease, aspect of the ice rink. However, I would say that the council really ties our hands by making us submit a predetermined budget of all things that we want to spend money on. So we have no discretionary fund, or money to set aside for instances where an association comes to us and says, hey, we just need a little bit of help. So the council really ties our hands and really is unfair to the association groups that we are trying to represent by making us account for every penny that we want to spend every budget year. And I know that they have to have some idea, but, we seem to be able to find money from the general fund for other projects and other improvements when people come and ask for them or want to do them. So I really think it's the way it is, and I totally understand it. I've been on both sides of it. I get it. But the council really does hog tie us a little bit with us being able to help associations throughout the year without giving us a little bit of discretionary funds. So I will make the motion to do the ask. It may go nowhere, it may go somewhere, I don't know, but I will make the motion to make the ask.
Is there a second?
So, the only thing I've been wondering a little bit is the ownership of the building down there. Who owns the building?
Brandon Valley Hockey Association does,
Okay.
which we have the MOU with you guys.
So that's different from the other associations in that normally when they invest, I know they gift the property to the city. So that'd make yours a little unique, and that's the only thing that I'm thinking is maybe that's why the MOU is different, that we'd be paying for an improvement in a building the city doesn't own, whereas everything else, it's improvements to city-owned property. That's the only thought I had.
And I would tell you that I don't know of a time, in the time that I've worked with the city as the activities director at the high school, and in the time that I've been on the council, if softball, if baseball or soccer has wanted improvements, yes, the city has ordered a scoreboard or the lights, or the city has approved the permit to build the tower down between the McCarty soccer fields and those kinds of things. But all of those things were done at the expense of those associations, or grants through the Athletic Booster Club, or things like that. So I don't know that there's a precedent that anything has been purchased for those associations. I think they've done it on their own. I may be wrong, but I can't think of any in all the time that I've been here, and I don't know that Devin can think of anywhere the city has made improvements to those things that they use.
How
And
about the lights for all the baseball fields?
Again, that's a city park owned by the city. So I think that's different. Yeah.
But
It
the
is
city
different.
still owns the property, we just have an MOU with you though. That's the only thing, we own the building, but you own the property, so you still own, and it's like a partnership between you and between us and the park department.
Owns the land.
Yes,
And that's where I could go, yeah, I see the parking lot as a safety issue. But this is inside a building, and it's for this, it's like a scoreboard at the softball field. I asked, as activities director, I asked if we could get different scoreboards. They said, yeah, if you pay for them. For when high school softball came in. So that's where I'm going with that. Yeah.
and we're a nonprofit, you know, we're not a business.
And I also, I mean, and the thought of the light too, the parking lot light too, is something that I would have an easier, I think that would be a very suitable thing that we should try to find funding for. I mean, I would much favor that over a scoreboard, because of the safety factor that Randy brought up, and it is a parking lot that's city-owned property.
That application was either or, right?
No, it was both.
Oh, it was both
Yeah, we put both
altogether.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that's what, sorry. I know they
Christina
were both,
kept referring to that the MOU with the city and us stated that we have the city that has no right, or they don't have the right, or they don't have to fund anything to do with the hockey association. I get that. But we were also supposed to sign, every other association was to sign that same MOU, and that's not true. So I feel like I've been misled down the wrong path, and we're supposed to be a partnership with the city, the park department, and the hockey association, and that's not, you know, we're paying for water, we're paying for electricity. Is the baseball association paying for water? No, because it's a city park, you know, but we're, baseball, yes, yeah.
they have their own well.
Right.
So they're paying for that well.
Yeah, and so, you
And they
know,
are paying for, they are paying for lights. I was gonna ask you what you think is different, but they are paying for lights now because First National Bank Field, they signed a different MOU, and their old MOU is not up until I believe at the end of 2027. But believe me, the council is on that, and Barb could verify if she wants to, that we have already discussed that when those MOUs do come up, there will be changes to charges for lights and things because we are now able to regulate and we're able to meter every individual field and who actually uses that field, whether it's FCA football or baseball or soccer or whoever uses that, they're going to have a code and we're going to know who that is and we're going to be able to charge them if we would like. And I would tell you that that's the appetite that I'm getting is that those MOUs will change, but we have an MOU through, I believe, 2027. So those are going to change, and everybody will be on a more level playing field.
So I appreciate.
scoreboard or lights, I don't,
Yep.
you know, that's what we applied
That,
for.
and that's
Yeah.
I guess that's what my question was. It wasn't both. It was like, if you could do one or the other, or both, I'm
Right,
sure.
yeah.
But- So I think that gives us a little bit of flexibility, like Al
Yeah,
was saying.
If it's an or situation, I feel better about it. And I don't know, Mindy, how you feel about if you have a preference to the scoreboard over the light, or you would be willing to, we would apply for funding to what we can.
If I would have the choice, I would apply for the lights.
And I join you in that.
Okay, so the application submitted. We've kind of, yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was earlier in the year. Whole bunch of calendar nerds in here.
I might have misprinted that one, sorry, I might have.
Okay, so, without taking a formal poll of the committee, I think anything that's outside the walls is much more within alignment of what we've done with our associations. Yeah, and safety focus for sure. So, let's make that same 10 grand, my suggestion would be to make that same 10 grand request, but have it applied to lights for the parking lot.
I will amend my motion. For the ask. Still not guaranteed, but for the ask.
Mindy's made a motion,
I would second.
seconded it.
Can I ask a question? Just like, because I would agree, like, I would love to see a new scoreboard in the hockey rink, like, it's gonna look good. But as far as like our budget, can we put in 10,000 of, we would loan hockey, 10,000 out of our budget for them to get a new scoreboard and then be reimbursed? And what's the timeline for scoreboard reimbursement? Do we know that?
Not really, but usually it's when Daktronics sends us the bill, we pass the bill on to them, they pay it. I don't know if they give them a 30-day or 60-day, I don't know anything about that, but once we get it, we just pass it on.
Typically, it's been pretty instantaneous. I mean, the money's there, and it's not really a loan per se.
So if we were able to get 10,000 put into, whether it's residual from 2025 or put into 26, and our focus is lighting, and it comes in at the 5,000 that, we had a rough estimate on, would that be all we were willing to do, or could we put any or all of that 5,000 towards a scoreboard? Is that?
Well, so thanks for that, Al. The reason why I was suggesting the 10 for the lights is because, one, those costs right now are kind of dumb and continue to go up with everything that's going on. So I think it's likely to be more than 5, just by the time we get through all the.
5,000 is just the electricity, right? That didn't include a light.
No, he said
Yeah, that was
5,000
it.
would
That
get
was
you
all.
the base, the pole, the light, and in theory, power depending on how far you have to run. Now, down there, I mean, obviously, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the closest power is the hockey building. But then that would mean that it's coming out of your utilities. So I don't know. I don't know about that. So now if Ironwood were to happen and we put lights down that, I don't know if we could branch off of that or not. I don't know as far as where to get power from or.
Well, we have, I mean, I know we have some things to figure out. That's the reason why I was like, so, yeah, that's, so there's.
Well, I'm just gonna say one more thing about safety out there for hockey is because we're used to having summer activities that go until 9 o'clock at night. It's gonna be winter and they're gonna have kids way down there in the dark on a gravel road. It really seems important that we have a light.
I agree. All right, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Tell me the motion again, please.
The motion,
Yep, correct me if I got this right, $10,000 increase to 2026 budget for hockey parking lot lights, or use leftover money from 2025 to purchase the lights. To assist.
Anything else? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right,
And I just have one more thing too. The cleanup is doing really good down there. One question we had for the park department, park board is the transformer down there for the old chiller that we pulled. Do you want that removed or do you,
I talked to, hold on, I can tell you what is, the one who's in charge down there now of removing. Connor, yes. He said it would be very, very expensive to remove it, is that correct?
correct?
Yeah,
We removed everything.
right. I think I told him at the moment, that's fine, we can just, it can stay, we'll work around it. I don't know what else, yeah, it was a lot, I don't remember the number he told me, but it was big to remove that transformer. Until we have a better plan of what we're doing down there, it's more or less not hurting anything, I guess, so.
yeah, that's, from my perspective, it's better off to leave it there. I mean, because we don't know what's gonna happen in there, and sometimes that infrastructure can turn out to be very advantageous, so we're not redoing it again, so. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Save us some money as well too, so.
All right,
It's still a little bit of work in progress, but I'm hoping this week, the end of this week, we'll have it completed, so. We're gonna try, but otherwise we're gonna try to sell them or donate them.
I don't know if there's been any social media buzz lately. I know there were some questions way earlier in the summer about what was happening in that area, so definitely appreciate all your group's efforts. And I do want to, I know you guys, the association has been rubbing pennies together to kind of make this happen. And I think despite our discussion and all that, it doesn't change the fact that we're very appreciative of what the Hockey Association has done. It's great to have that facility there. And we, you know, we're always stuck in the budget quandary, right? So
Yeah.
your continual efforts of coming and communicating with us have been very important.
Yes, I agree. We need to have an equal partnership, and we are going to be hosting 4 different tournaments this winter. So maybe I'll talk to the board and see maybe we could do some kind of QR code or free Snickers or something to try to
And
get a
two,
good number
yeah,
for you.
because Patrick, he does the development foundation stuff, right, for social media posts for Brandon. I mean, I think it's good to be in contact with him too, right, about use of the building and it kind of going through its inaugural season and
Yeah,
What
we've,
age level are the tournaments?
there'll be mini mite squirts, peewees, all the way up to, not JV varsity though,
Yeah.
but yeah, Bantams, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When does registration start?
It already closed, but we're letting like new people come in, and we've already had two, try hockey for free, and we were probably got over 30 kids so far have showed up. We're gonna have another one in a couple weeks.
So are numbers consistent? Are they up?
They're starting to climb,
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
awesome.
Good outlook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that is our agenda. Next meeting, I can't believe I'm saying this, but September 17th, 5:15. 5:15, we're still good? You good with that, Devin? Okay. I would take a motion for adjournment. Motion and a second, all in favor? We are adjourned.